Hey traders, welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth for a midday market update. Today is December 23rd. It's Wednesday. It's Christmas Eve. So hope everyone's having an awesome day today. In today's video, before we jump into the content, make sure to smash the like. It shows me some support, and consider subscribing to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to discuss Nkla, Nikola gapping down over 10%, and we'll discuss why it's down today. It's basically has to do with waste hauler Republic Services canceling a battery order, and we'll take a look at that in just a second and some charting. But like I said, before we jump in, make sure to hit the like. It shows me some support, and subscribe to the channel. So we'll go over some news and events today, and then we'll jump into some overall charting of the broader market, and then we'll look at some individual tickers. But doing a midday market update today, just heads up that there won't be an update after the market close today. I have some appointments and things to do with family. So currently traveling in Sylvan Lake, Alberta, and staying in a cottage home, having just a downtime and pretty much staying off the grid. So hope everyone's getting time to wind down and spend time with friends and family during the holidays. So jumping right into today's content, Trump calls the relief bill unsuitable and demands Congress add bigger stimulus payments, basically calling it just a disgrace, basically saying that the stimulus checks weren't enough and sort of defending the American people. We saw that the initial jobless claims fell to 3-week low of 803,000 versus 885,000 expected. So we put an end to that losing streak. I think it was 3 weeks in a row. And we just ended that with finally coming in at a beat. So you can see here, they're estimating 885K, came in at 803K. Last week was 892K. We also saw U.S. consumer spending drops 0.4% in November, so seems to be slowing a little bit there. We also saw Health Canada approving Moderna's cure, so that's some huge news and obviously going to boost the market and overall investor confidence going into the new year. We also saw that the Canadian economy grew 0.4% in October, says Stats Canada. So moving on to today's main headline. So Nikola got some very bad news today, and like I said earlier, it was due to Republic Services canceling its order for 2,500 battery-powered electric trucks. So Nikola shares are falling in response, adding to recent losses, leaving investors wondering how low can they go. So we'll take a look at the chart here in just a moment, but essentially they partnered with GM, and stock was absolutely on a tear, and it's just been an absolute roller coaster ride and nightmare for the last little while for investors. But obviously hurting the stock today, stock gap down over 10%. So we'll jump into some charting in that in just a little bit. We also saw that cannabis M&A, so mergers and acquisitions activity intensifies as investor sentiment brightens since November election. And US stocks and Canadian cannabis stocks are up huge today, and it's been a while since we've seen this much volume and this much green across the entire sectors. So cannabis mergers and acquisitions are heating up, with more than 600 million worth of deals announced on Tuesday alone, and that's on top of additional transactions unveiled since the US presidential election last month. New York-based multi-state marijuana operator Columbia Care on Tuesday announced a definitive agreement to acquire privately held Greenleaf Medical for $240 million, expanding its presence in the Mid-Atlantic. AYR, so I did a video on this yesterday, proposed a $290 million all-stock acquisition of Liberty Health. So you can go to my channel, just search Liberty Health or AYR strategies, and it should come up. And I did some technical analysis on those and my thoughts on those into the end of the week and end of the year. So today, HEXO started trading on a post-split adjusted basis. So we had the reverse split, which was a 1-to-4. So if for every 4 shares, you now have 1. And the price was multiplied by 4. So we opened, I think it was at 408, and we did break to new highs there today. So we'll take a look at some charting here in just a second. But again, we're just going to do just a quick overview of the broader market. So we'll look at the crypto space, we'll look at SPY and the overall S&P 500 and the broader sector, and then we'll look at some individual charts like Nikola and some MJ charts. So you can see here, Bitcoin fell. There was some widespread panic due to the SEC probe and lawsuit with Ripple. We also just had some news come out that Link is also going to be next in line by the SEC, so Chainlink. So we'll see if there's any developments there, but essentially XRP being sued for selling non-registered, like $1.3 billion worth of non-registered, filings and securities, in quotation marks, securities, but I don't know how much I believe this. Same thing happened with Bitcoin, same thing happened with Ether, where they were deemed a security and they both beat it and they were deemed a currency. And same with XRP. XRP is not part of Ripple. It's its own entity. So if Ripple were to go away, XRP would still be there. So that's why I think it's fine. Also in the Swell conference, they had a SEC expert on there basically explaining why XRP was a currency and not a security. And a lot of what they say makes sense. So personally, I think it's just FUD, and I bought the dip. I sold it yesterday at 41 cents, took the loss, rebought today at 31 cents. So huge drop there, and was able to reload 10 cents cheaper. So personally, I think it's just FUD. And if they do get charged for the SEC and they do admit fault, or they do somehow just give in, and like this isn't the end of XRP, and if they do beat the lawsuit, then what, right? So another thing to keep in mind is Bank of America partnering, and all these other huge companies and MoneyGram partnering with Ripple and XRP. Do you really think XRP is doing anything wrong, or Ripple's doing anything wrong if Bank of America? So, I mean, obviously they would have done their due diligence, and it kind of goes back to the GM and Nkla scenario where, well, if there was any kind of fraud or any kind of shady things going on at Nkla, wouldn't you think that GM would have done their due diligence? But not necessarily. There's always things that can fall through the cracks, or things that companies may hide or try to hide. But we'll continue to monitor this. I don't think it's the end of the world. I'm scaling into Ripple, still building a position. I've got about 2 more orders that I'll fill, but I think anything under 30 cents is a steal. And personally, I don't think there's much weight to these charges. And personally, I would expect XRP to get off as a currency and not as a security. So that's where we stand. Bitcoin, we were looking at the 15-minute equilibrium here. So we had the low, high, higher low, lower high, bear break, and we started to see an uptick in volume there, but we are holding that, so we could essentially adjust this down here and adjust this resistance line to there. So we still have this tightening range. Most important resistance is going to be $24,090, and most important support down here around the 22,940. And this is on Coinbase. So that's where we stand. Taking a look at SPY. So SPY pretty much just sideways, range bound today, holding EMA 26 here on the 5-minute. No real red flags, just some volume kind of tapering off on the day because of the holiday. Yesterday, volume was dropping off. Today, we have an inside bar on watch. So most important resistance will be the high of yesterday, 310.71, and support of 306.85. So watching that inside bar, sorry, that's on QQQ. SPY had a little bit of an inside bar bull break. So we did break the resistance of 368.33, currently above that now. And let's just take a look at the dollar. So the dollar inside bar as well on watch. So a lot of tightening ranges. I don't expect a break really into tomorrow. We have a short week this week. So personally, I think it's just going to be a tightening range and not much going on in the next couple of days. We'll just take a brief look here. Oil's up over 3%, seeing a huge daily bounce here starting to take place. Looks like the daily higher low is set. And do we have a double bottom there? 46.27, 46.18. So we did lose support, but bulls bought the dip. So very impressive. Congrats to the US oil bulls. Taking a look at gold, up over 0.5%, silver up over 1.5%. Essentially still a daily inside bar though. We did break that just barely, but only by about a penny. Broken by a few dollars here. We did have a mini bear break, but essentially just a tightening range there, scouting daily higher lows in gold and silver. So that's where we stand. XLE energy sector up over about 3.5%. So not surprising there. With oil's move, we do have EMA 12 to be tested as resistance at $39.10. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But like I said, just trying to set those daily higher lows, and we need to change the hourly trend to be confident. So if we take extended hours off here, we have the low, high, higher, low, higher, high, hourly trend change, daily higher low is set down here at 37.02. So that's where we stand. XLF up over 1.5% today. XLV healthcare up about 0.5%. XLF had an inside bar bull break, and we have resistance up at 29.03. So that's where we stand in terms of the broader market. So let's take a look at the NKLA chart. So I know a lot of people are probably wondering what to expect here. We did lose support at 16, and on the daily chart, we have to go back quite a while here. It doesn't look like we have any support all the way down here till about the $13 range, and then after that, $11.32. But we are in a daily downtrend with a lower high into a lower low. Zooming out to the weekly chart, and we're almost at the 20-period moving average volume, and that's the most volume we've seen here in a few weeks, since all the way back here at the beginning of December. And the day's not over yet. So taking a look at the weekly chart, we had the low, high, higher low, into a higher high, weekly trend change, and then huge upper wick into a new lower low. That is a huge red flag. That is not what bulls want to see. We do have volume dropping off, but again, it's to be expected with the shortened week. Taking a look at the monthly. So we did lose EMA 26 support, which was at 1652. So this is not looking good whatsoever. Weekly lower high every candle for the last 5 weeks. So once we break that pattern, that will be a significant momentum shift. But we're essentially we have three hourly inside bars. So that's going to be a nice tightening range there in equilibrium on some shorter time frames. But we'll look, obviously, most important resistance is going to be 1545 and support at 1505. We have a break of any of those levels, then we'll either have a bull break of these tightening inside bars, these tightening ranges, or a bear break, and we'll look to another leg down if we do break this bear. But personally, I'd be favoring bearish momentum at this point. It's really going to depend on the overall broader market as well. If SPY or the tech sector starts to roll over, that's obviously going to create some pressure. But essentially in an hourly downtrend, let's take a look at the 15-minute. So we did hit the low of 1482, and we're, like I said, in a equilibrium type pattern here. EMA 12 acting as resistance, so that'll be step one. But we do have the low, high, higher low, lower high, higher low, getting very tight here on this equilibrium. So we can just draw that out for you folks, just very fast. So whichever way this breaks, like I said, we can expect either a bull break and an hourly bounce, or if we break bear, then we look to new lower lows and another leg down. But at this point, not looking good for bulls, and bears are just aggressively shorting at every lower high that they can get. Hourly, we didn't quite get to a bear flag, but if we do break this, be cautious of, if we do break resistances with lacks of follow through, just be careful of an hourly bear flag as well. But tightening up, we'll see how much tighter we can get. Zooming into the 5-minute. So from the low here, we did have a mini higher low into a higher high. We lost that, and we're essentially just choppy right now, no real direction. So most important time frame is going to be this 15-minute equilibrium, and whichever way that breaks, we should have direction for the rest of the day. So that's where we stand on NKLA. I'll just take a quick look at some other names. So we did have some notable movers DFLY, so it was up huge today, up, I think it was up over 50% or 30% yesterday and down about 12% today, so seeing some profit taking. Nkla, INSG had a nice run, so just healthy consolidation, down over 6% today. Zoom down over 5%. On the bull list, we have Space, Air Canada, CWeb, DDD, 3D data system or 3D systems up over 5%. So congrats to the bulls there. And Riot had a monster day yesterday as well, but seeing some profit taking today, but a decent bounce off the lows here at 1333. About a 10%, 9-10% bounce. So Tesla trying to rebound here as well. Huge dip buying. And that is just a massive V shape and utmost confidence in the market, and investors obviously just continues to impress. And if you take your eyes off it for a minute, you miss the move, because this all happened very, very quickly. Went from the low of the day to the high of the day in 25 minutes. Not even, it was about 20 minutes. So that's where we stand. We are cautious of a potential head and shoulders here as well, but we'll zoom out. This could be a 15-minute bull flag by the looks of things. Just take a look. So it is holding the 0.32 and EMA 12, so consider that a potential 15-minute bull flag. But we'll zoom into the 2-minute trend here. We need to change this 2-minute trend back to the bulls. So with the low, high, looking for a 2-minute high or low. If we break resistance here at 644, that will set the trend change, and we can be confident that the 15-minute high or low is set. And that increases the odds of a 15-minute bull flag as well. So that's where we stand on Tesla. That's pretty much all I had for individual tickers. We'll take a look at the MJ space. So VFF with a daily trend change today with the low at $9.10. We hit a high of 1041, new higher low established at 950 into a higher high. We did break above, we got as high as 1157. So we essentially double topped here at the 1159 mark from back on November 30th. So daily trend change on massive volume, already well above the 20 period moving average volume, and the most volume we've seen since the last week of November, and we're only halfway through the trading day. So huge volume. That's where we can be confident that the weekly bull flag is still on the table. So you can see here we were scouting a weekly higher low, and it looks like we have that established now with the daily trend change, and bulls are looking up toward resistance. If we can get above this 1159 resistance, nothing here on the weekly really until $14.60. So if we were to take the measured move of this flag, that would put us right up here around that $15 mark. So I could see us testing $14.60 absolutely if that confirms. And right now it's looking very, very good for the bulls. So congrats to the VFF bulls, up over 15% currently. And taking a look at CGC. So CGC looking to do the same thing. Could still be a weekly bull flag. Need to break the high of last week, which is at 2710, to be confident that the weekly bounce is underway. And the daily trend change, we essentially had that double bottom. Now bulls are looking up to resistance here at 2710. We break above 2710, we'll be in an uptrend and can be confident that the weekly high or low is set. So that's where we stand. Just take a look here. So HEXO got a nice move going here today. So the reverse split took effect. So we are now trading at $4.14 on the US NYSE. So obviously reverse split was done in order to regain compliance with the New York Stock Exchange listing requirements. So now that they're back above $1, they will not be delisted. And in my opinion, this is good news for the stock and nothing but better things ahead, in my opinion, for HEXO. But taking a look at the hourly chart, you can see here we had the low, high, higher, low, broke into a higher high, but pulling back here. We also had the EMA bull cross on the weekly, so the 12 and 26, and just zooming in here to the 15-minute. See here from the low of the day, we had the low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, 15-minute uptrend, just scouting a 15-minute higher low. Still have EMA 12 and 26 there as well at 408 and 411. 409 and 411, I guess it is. So keep an eye on HEXO, as now that we have the reverse split out of the way, like I said, I see nothing but better days ahead. It's won a couple of awards now for their OS Reserve, and their little victory won brand, the Cannabis Infused Beverage of the Year. And Original Stash also won new brand of the year. So again, expecting a strong quarter next quarter and earnings report for HEXO. Very, very excited to see how this stock plays out into 2021, but seeing a lot of bullish indicators. APHA up about 1.5%. Let's take a look at Tilray. Tilray up over 3% today. So the entire sector seeing some green. Sundial is still down about 3.5% today. And BFF, OGI leading the way. And then Tilray. And that's pretty much all I have in terms of Canadian MJ. Let's take a look into the US. So LHS, daily inside bar. So if you are curious, since the AYR Strategies acquisition news, if you are curious about the direction of how this is going to break, then we'll just be watching this inside bar. If we break bullish, then obviously we'll look to higher highs. And if we break this bearish, then we'll look to a potential gap fill down here at all the way down at the 54-cent level. So that's a long way down. Most important is going to be the daily inside bars. So on the bull list, we had CWeb, Ian, NBEV, and BAM. On the bear list, we have IIPR, HARB, and GWPH. But a lot more green than red here today. And like I said, the US MJ space seeing lots of green, and the Canadian MJ space as well. So nice to see green across the board in both sectors. Taking a look at Trulieve. Trulieve's up about 1% today. We did break the high of yesterday, so it looks like the daily bounce is trying to get underway, looking to establish those daily higher lows, but we need to change the hourly trend. See here, we had the low of 40.19, and we haven't really established a clear higher low yet. So we're looking for that higher low now and need to change that hourly trend to be confident that the daily higher low is set. We did break the low, the high of yesterday, so the daily bounce is underway, but in order to be absolutely confident that the daily higher low is set, we need to change that hourly trend. So that's pretty much where we stand. I'll take a look at the weekly chart for NKLA. So we are bearish. We're below the 10-week moving average, and this was bearish last week. So at the close of Friday last week, we closed below the 10-week moving average. The stochastic was bearish, and the MACD was cross bearish. So we had three long-term macro indicators signaling signs of weakness, and we just continue to see another leg down. And until we change these long-term macro indicators, I am going to remain bearish on NKLA. Taking a look at the weekly moving averages, we also lost the 100 weekly moving average. So when we got above the 50 weekly moving average and lost that, that was red flag number one. And then once we lost 1786, I would have been running for the hills. We also would have been below the 10-week moving average. And like I said, MACD is just heading to the basement in a hurry. On the daily moving averages, again, we got above the 50, the 100, and the 200. And we had a death cross with the 50 crossing through the 200, which was obviously a huge signal to get out of the stock as quickly as possible at $27. And we did spike one final push up to 38 and just absolute train wreck. But again, once we lost the 50-day moving average at $20, back here around $22, $20, that would have been the exit signal. MACD crossing, was looking to cross bullish, but is crossing bearish. No end in sight. $15 obviously going to be a nice round psychological number. So you could potentially enter here now at $15 psychological. We do have a little bit of a support level here at 13. So if you were to enter now, so if you're a conservative bull, maybe you want to de-risk and enter now with a stop below 15. Maybe you have a bit more appetite for a little bit more risk. So you set your stop below the daily support at $13. So maybe you enter now, maybe you scale in a few different orders if you are a long-term bull looking for entries. So that's pretty much where we stand. If you're a bear, obviously you're just waiting for daily lower highs once the daily bounce gets underway. But personally, I still think that there's a lot more downside, especially if SPY and QQQ decide to turn over. It's really not set up for any weakness in the broader market whatsoever. So that's pretty much where we stand. NKLA bulls just hoping that they can rebound before SPY and QQQ consolidate. And we're definitely seeing a little bit of red flags in terms of the broader market. But again, we need to take that with a grain of salt because it is a shortened week this week. So expecting volume to drop off. We have a short day tomorrow. So we have a half a day trading tomorrow, and then Friday is closed, obviously due to the holiday. So that's where we stand. Hope everyone has a fantastic day today, and we'll see you tomorrow. I'll do another midday market update tomorrow as well, instead of an after market update and daily market recap. So thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you tomorrow for another midday market update. Take care, everyone.